On battlefields from the frozen steppes of Russia to the scorching sands of North Africa, an invisible war raged within the larger conflict. Snipers, the patient hunters of World War II, could paralyze entire infantry companies with a single well-placed shot. These men turned warfare into a deadly game of hide and seek, where one missed movement meant death. While every nation fielded marksmen, one stood above the rest in reputation and results. Let's begin with the nation that turned sniping into a science: Germany. The Karabiner 98K, universally known as the Kar 98K, was the backbone of Wehrmacht precision shooting. Built on the legendary Mauser bolt-action design, this rifle combined rock-solid reliability with exceptional accuracy at ranges beyond 600 meters. German snipers could outfit their Kar 98K with 3 different optical systems: the ZF-41 for quick target acquisition at moderate distances, the ZF-42 with improved clarity and adjustment, or the powerful ZF-39 for extreme range engagements. Each scope brought its own tactical advantage, allowing snipers to tailor their weapon to the mission at hand. This rifle became the standard instrument of death for sharpshooters across every German theatre, from the rubble of Stalingrad to the desert warfare of Rommel's Afrika Korps. Heavy and demanding to master, it nonetheless dominated the sniper war on the Axis side, claiming more enemy lives from concealment than any other rifle in Hitler's arsenal. When Allied soldiers heard the crack of a distant shot, they knew a Kar 98K was likely watching. But bolt-action rifles had a critical weakness: the sniper lost his sight picture with every cycling of the bolt. Enter the Gewehr 43, Germany's answer to the Soviet semi-automatic threat. After encountering Russian SVT rifles on the Eastern Front, German engineers raced to develop their own self-loading precision weapon. The G43, sometimes designated K43 for the carbine variant, paired a gas-operated action with the excellent ZF-4 scope and a 10-round detachable magazine. This combination allowed skilled marksmen to engage multiple targets rapidly without breaking their cheek weld or losing track of the battlefield through their optics. The advantage in fluid combat situations was undeniable. Faster follow-up shots could mean the difference between eliminating a target and becoming one. However, honesty demands acknowledgement of its flaws. The G43 proved less inherently accurate than the refined Kar 98K, and its complex mechanism made it temperamental in the mud and cold of the Russian front. Still, it successfully bridged the gap between surgical precision and sustained firepower, giving German snipers a modern tool for a modern battlefield. The rarest bird in the German sniper's nest was the FG-42, a weapon so exotic that most soldiers never saw one. Designed specifically for Fallschirmjäger paratroopers, this selective fire rifle featured a lightweight construction, straight-line stock to manage recoil, and a distinctive side-mounted magazine. While primarily an assault rifle, certain FG-42s were fitted with optical sights for specialized operations behind enemy lines. When it worked, it was devastating. A sniper could engage precision targets, then switch to full automatic for close-quarters defense. The catch? Manufacturing complexity made each rifle expensive and time-consuming to produce, resulting in tiny production numbers that never satisfied demand. The FG-42 became more legend than workhorse, yet it perfectly represented German innovation under pressure. Brilliant engineering solutions born from desperate tactical needs. While Germany refined precision to an art form, the Soviets perfected mass deployment of snipers on an industrial scale. The Soviet Union didn't just embrace sniper warfare, they industrialized it. While other nations trained elite marksmen in small numbers, the Red Army graduated thousands from specialized sniper schools, creating the largest and most systematic sniper program in history. Among their ranks fought women marksmen, a uniquely Soviet innovation that shattered conventions and racked up staggering kill counts. Names like Pavlichenko and Zaitsev would become legendary, But their success rested on one foundational weapon: the Mosin Nagant. The Mosin Nagant M91/30 became the workhorse of Soviet precision shooting, an old warhorse given new teeth. Its design dated back to 1891, but modernization in 1930 transformed it into a deadly instrument capable of reaching out beyond 800 meters. Soviet snipers could equip their Mosin with three distinct optical systems. The PU scope, by far the most common, with its simple 3.5 power magnification, the earlier PE scope with its distinctive side mount, or the rare PEM variant reserved for specialized applications. Mass production defined the Soviet approach. Millions of Mosin Nagants rolled off assembly lines, with thousands receiving glass and going to train snipers. This rifle thrived in the brutal conditions of the Eastern Front, where simpler mechanisms meant fewer failures in sub-zero temperatures and choking mud. Its rugged construction demanded little maintenance and forgave the abuse that destroyed more delicate weapons. The most decorated Soviet snipers chose the Mosin as their instrument of war, trusting their lives to its proven reliability. It proved an elegant truth. An old design paired with quality optics, placed in trained hands, becomes a weapon of mass destruction. The Germans learned to fear the distant crack of a Mosin, knowing an invisible Soviet marksman was watching, waiting, counting. But the Red Army sought modernization beyond bolt-action rifles. The SVT-40 represented the Soviet answer to demands for rapid fire, precision. Designed by Fyodor Tokarev, this gas-operated semi-automatic rifle mounted the PE scope and fed from a 10-round detachable magazine, allowing sustained engagements that bolt actions simply couldn't match. The tactical advantage was crystal clear. A sniper using an SVT-40 could engage multiple targets in rapid succession, suppress enemy positions, and maintain continuous observation through the optic without working a bolt. For fluid battlefield situations, where targets appeared and vanished in seconds, the semi-automatic action proved invaluable. Elite Soviet snipers gravitated toward the SVT-40, recognizing its potential in skilled hands. The catch? This brilliance existed largely on paper. The SVT-40 proved finicky in the mud and penetrating cold that defined the Eastern Front. It demanded regular maintenance and careful handling, luxuries that didn't exist in the desperate defense of Stalingrad or the grinding advances through Ukraine. Regular infantry struggled to keep them functioning, often abandoning them for simpler Mosin Nagants. The SVT-40 became the weapon of choice for the best snipers, those who could baby its temperamental mechanism through the Rasputitsa, the season when Russian mud swallowed armies whole. The SVT-40's predecessor, the Tokarev SVT-38, represented an earlier stumbling attempt at semi-automatic precision. Produced in the late 1930s as the Soviet Union desperately modernized its arsenal before the German storm, this experimental rifle saw limited combat service before its flaws became undeniable. Even more unreliable than its successor, the SVT-38 choked on dirt, froze in cold, and frustrated the soldiers issued it. When fitted with PE optics, it showed promise in controlled conditions, but the Eastern Front offered nothing controlled. Soviet commanders withdrew it quickly, learning expensive lessons about what not to do when designing combat rifles. Yet the SVT-38 served a crucial purpose. It was the stepping stone that taught Soviet engineers exactly how to improve the design, leading directly to the more refined SVT-40. Sometimes failure teaches more than success ever could. Across the Atlantic and Channel, the Western Allies took entirely different paths towards sniper supremacy. American industrial pragmatism clashed beautifully with British traditional craftsmanship, creating two distinct philosophies that both proved devastatingly effective. The United States favored rapid conversion of existing infantry rifles into sniper weapons, prioritizing speed and volume over perfection. The British took the opposite approach, hand-picking rifles from standard production, meticulously tuning each one, and issuing them only to elite marksmen. Neither nation was wrong. Both methods killed the enemy. First, the American solution. The M1903A4 Springfield brought America's Great War rifle roaring back to relevance. This proven design, from 1903, received new life through simple modification. Engineers removed the iron sights entirely and mounted an M73 Weaver scope, later upgraded to the M84 model. The Marine Corps fell in love with the Springfield's bolt-action reliability, particularly in the Pacific Theater, where humidity and salt air murdered more complex mechanisms. While the semi-automatic M1 Garand dominated American infantry doctrine, many Marines trusted their lives to the old-school dependability of a bolt gun when precision mattered more than firepower. The Springfield demanded nothing fancy, just good fundamentals and patient trigger control. Sometimes simplicity beats innovation, a lesson the Marines understood better than most. When newer scoped Garands weren't yet available, the A4 proved that adequate and reliable trumps advanced and absent. Mounting a scope on America's most famous rifle presented significant engineering challenges. The M1C and M1D Garand variants attempted to transform the iconic 8-round semi-automatic into a precision instrument without sacrificing its core strengths. The M1C and M1D differed primarily in their scope mounting systems and production timing, but both utilized M81 or M82 optics mounted offset to allow stripper clip loading. The advantage was obvious: 8 rounds of 30 or 6. Springfield, semi-automatic operation, and the manual of arms every American infantryman already knew by heart. The limitation? Scope mounting compromised inherent accuracy slightly compared to dedicated bolt-action sniper rifles, and the distinctive ping of the ejecting on-block clip announced when the sniper was empty. Combat reality delivered another blow. These rifles arrived late in the war, seeing limited action in Europe before finding their true calling in Korea. The M1C and M1D represented a brilliant idea that needed more development time, proof that even great concepts require proper gestation. Desperation produces ugly solutions. The M1917 Enfield, a leftover from World War I gathering dust in armories, got pressed into sniper service when America's need exceeded supply. Fitted with Winchester A5 scopes, these conversions existed purely as stopgap measures before Springfield A4 production ramped up. Limited numbers received sniper modifications, and those that did performed adequately but uninspiringly. The 1917 served as living proof that America would utilize anything available until proper solutions arrived, even outdated rifles from a previous war. British sniper rifle excellence rested on a foundation of quality over quantity. The Lee Enfield No. 4, Mark 1T, resulted from hand-picking standard production rifles that demonstrated exceptional accuracy, then fitting them with the sophisticated No. 32 Mark I scope. British doctrine rejected mass production of snipers, instead creating elite, marksmen through rigorous selection and training. The rifle's 10-round magazine capacity exceeded most bolt actions, and its heritage from the famous Mad Minute drills bred lightning-fast bolt manipulation into the design. Both users and opponents held the No. 4 Mark 1T in high regard, recognizing it as a weapon crafted with care rather than stamped out by the thousands. The British didn't mass-produce snipers. They handcrafted them like fine furniture. Its predecessor, the SMLE Mark III Star with pattern 1918 scope, represented a Great War veteran still contributing to victory. This earlier design with basic but functional optics remained in service across the Commonwealth. Australia, Canada, and India continued issuing them, while newer number 4 variants gradually replaced them. Like an aging soldier past his prime, but still lethal in experienced hands, the SMLE Mark III Star served with distinction when called upon. The boys' anti-tank rifle occupied a category entirely its own. This massive 55 caliber anti-materiel weapon, weighing 36 pounds, was never intended for traditional sniping. Its purpose involved punching through light armor and fortifications at extreme range, but snipers discovered it could deliver devastating long-range shots against equipment and exposed personnel. Brutal recoil and cumbersome weight made it punishing to use, and its effectiveness diminished rapidly as tank armor improved throughout the war. The boys represented overkill for sniping and underpowered for modern tanks, yet remained terrifying nonetheless. Beyond the major powers, specialist nations fielded unique and deadly solutions. The smaller nations and Axis partners developed sniper doctrines shaped by unique geography, limited resources, and tactical desperation. Japan adapted sniping to suffocating jungle warfare. Italy barely bothered with organized marksman programs, and Finland elevated the craft to mythical status against impossible odds. Each represented a different answer to the same question. How do you kill the enemy from concealment? In the Pacific, sniping took on an entirely different character. The Type 97 sniper rifle embodied Japanese patience and the terror of invisible death from the jungle canopy. Based on the Type 38 Arisaka, chambered in 6.5mm, this rifle mounted a modest 2.5 power scope, optimized for the close engagement ranges of dense tropical vegetation. Japanese snipers became legendary for their field craft, tying themselves into treetops for days, conducting night operations that exploited superior night vision adaptation, and setting ambushes that turned Allied advances into psychological nightmares. The cultural emphasis on discipline and patience made Japanese soldiers natural snipers, willing to remain motionless for hours awaiting the perfect shot. Allied troops learned to fear the jungle itself, never knowing if that rustling leaf concealed a patient hunter with a Type 97. The technical limitation was undeniable. The 6.5mm cartridge lacked the raw power of Western rifle rounds, hitting softer at range. Japanese snipers compensated for this ballistic weakness through superior field craft and an almost fanatical dedication to remaining undetected. When you can't outshoot the enemy, you outsneak them. The Type 99 represented evolution born from desperation. Upgraded to the more powerful 7.7mm cartridge and fitted with an improved 4 power scope, this rifle offered better magnification and hitting power than its predecessor. But production context tells the real story. Late war resource constraints and material shortages meant later Type 99s suffered catastrophic quality decline. What began as an excellent design became another casualty of Japan's collapsing industrial base. Fewer Type 99s reached the field than Type 97s, and those that did often featured substandard materials that compromised performance. The same jungle doctrine applied, now with theoretically superior range capability that reality rarely delivered. The Type 99 could have been a world-class sniper rifle, but instead became yet another victim of Japan's resource crisis, brilliant on the drawing board and disappointing in the foxhole. Italy's Carcano M91/38 would achieve unlikely fame decades later, though not for its World War II service. The rifle that would eventually be used in Dallas saw limited and unimpressive sniper employment during the war itself. Italy's sniper program remained small-scale and never received institutional priority, resulting in ad hoc modifications with various scope configurations and zero standardization. The 6.5mm Carcano cartridge performed adequately, but inspired no one, much like Italy's half-hearted commitment to precision marksmanship. Italian snipers fought in North Africa alongside Rommel, froze on the Eastern Front with the Italian Expeditionary Corps, and defended their homeland during the Allied invasion, but their nation never embraced sniping the way others did. The Carcano represented a capable rifle fundamentally handicapped by lack of support, training, and doctrine. History remembers it more for what happened in Dallas than anything it accomplished in World War II. Finland tells a different story entirely. The M28-30, refined by Finnish manufacturer Sako from the Mosin Nagant action, became the instrument of winter war legend. When tiny Finland faced the Soviet giant in 1939, snipers became critical force multipliers, and the M28-30 was their weapon. Heavy barrel construction, improved triggers, and match-grade production created a handcrafted precision instrument perfectly suited to frozen forests and the long sightlines of Scandinavian terrain. The most famous Finnish sniper, Simo Heiha, known as the White Death, primarily used iron sights, but his weapon choice validated Finnish gunsmithing excellence. While Soviets mass-produced adequate rifles by the millions, Finland handcrafted superior ones by the thousands. Environmental advantages mattered. Finnish cold weather testing ensured reliability when Soviet rifles froze solid. The M28-30 proved that a small nation armed with superior rifles and training could humiliate a superpower, at least temporarily. The M39 represented Finland's relentless pursuit of perfection. Taking lessons learned from the Winter War, Finnish engineers improved sights, strengthened the action, and refined ergonomics into an even better rifle. During the Continuation War from 1941 to 1944, the M39 served Finnish marksmen as they again fought Soviet forces. Various optics were adapted, primarily captured Soviet PE scopes turned against their original owners. The M39 continued in Finnish military service decades after World War II ended, testament to its enduring quality. While superpowers churned out adequate rifles by the trainload, Finland obsessively perfected a single design. The diversity of sniper rifles across nations proves no perfect solution existed. Each rifle was optimized for its tactical environment, and ultimately, the deadliest weapon system wasn't the rifle itself, but the trained marksman behind it.